Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS, and in this episode we're going to deal with the Cowled Wizards for good. And we're also going to get to enjoy our new and beautiful Crom Fair and put this weapon to the test. And our trusty Eshidina, the weapon that served us well for so long, is going to go and enjoy some well-deserved rest in our bag of holding. Also, in the context of killing Cowled Wizards, what I forgot to mention when we talked about Crom Fair in the last episode is that its +5 enchantment is going to allow us to bypass mantles and improved mantles, because even though these spells were improved by SCS, granting them a one more enchantment level of protection, even improved mantle only protects from up to +4 weapons, and if you have +5 or better, you are going to get through to that. So the only way they can protect themselves against Crom is by using protection from magic weapons, or using absolute immunity, which is a level 9 spell and it's not that common. So Crom is going to definitely do some work, but also before we go out there and confront them, we're going to set up a spell sequencer on Senashira for later, and also before we set up our sequencer on Imoen with the triple Ice Storm, I am going to set up first a spell sequencer with something else. The Ice Storm is going to be left for some later waves. And also, as a reminder, there are going to be 6 waves in total of the Cowled Wizards that get gradually a little bit more difficult, but generally the last wave is the biggest difference, where we are going to have a named Cowled Wizard, and it's kind of like a boss fight. But anyway, before we also venture out there, let's give protection from magical energy and maybe chaotic commands onto Senashira, because Senashira is going to start in close proximity to the Cowled Wizards, and sometimes they can have that chain contingency with horrid wilting, so let's just protect her from that. And I think we're also going to haste here. Alright, and now we can go outside. And it's going to be a perfect setting during the night time, because there are not going to be any bystanders, so we don't have to limit ourselves to AoE spells that are party friendly, but we can also use some other spells. So we're going to leave the guys over there, and we're just going to do some mirror images on Senashira. We're going to prepare Imoen and Edwin to throw in some remove magics, and we're already, well, not already, after a little while, we're going to start casting True Seeing on Adaman to dispel their illusions in an AoE fashion, and we're going to just kind of wait with some of our other characters. And also, you know, on this first fight I'm not really preparing too much. It doesn't really require much preparations, although the Cowled Wizards generally, they are all going to be named Cowled Enforcer, but the gray guy that shows up, their kind of leader, I think he is level 20, and the other Cowled Wizards, they come in a couple of types. Some of them are level 14, some of them are level 16, and yeah, some are level 20. So they are formidable opponents. But for this first wave, you know, we're not going to prepare that much. For the next waves, we are going to do a little bit more preparation. And also, I am going to try to go for some variety and deal with all of these waves in a different, or at least slightly different fashion, using some different spells. Because, of course, you could use the same strategy for all 6 waves. There are some effective things to use against them. But let's have some fun and use some different spells and tactics if possible. Alright, so here comes a guy telling us that we are unlicensed. This is an unsanctioned use of magical energy. You have been warned. Alright, so give me your best shot, Cowled Wizards. So yeah, there are 3 green guys. They're all going to be called Cowled Enforcers, and this gray guy. And let's allow them to get their pre-buffs. And also we can start casting those remove magics already, just to hit them with 2. And yeah, let's just get ready. Oh yeah, here's that chain contingency with horrid wilting. Alright, and this guy is going to have immunity to abjuration, but it seems like the other ones don't really have spell immunities to anything. So we should be able to, yeah, dispel their illusions, although that's going to come in the next round for the other guys. They receive their pre-buffs a little bit later. And yeah, so the Cowled Enforcer here is going to be our biggest problem, because he has that spell immunity. But his illusions are already dispelled, so we might try and throw some dispelling spells on him, but he has Globe of Invulnerability, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to dispel him in one go with our Spell Thrust. We're going to have to use some more spells. But anyway, our remove magics were very, very successful, so let's just... Oh yeah, what did they cast here? Improved Mantles and Mantles. So this guy has Improved Mantle. We are going to put Senashira onto him, and she is going to be able to gradually cut through his stone skins and interrupt him with the electrical damage coming from Cromfair. And then let's have our other guys try and reach the other mages. Kind of spread our attacks a little bit in between them. Yeah, this weapon ineffective is from her offhand, but yeah, she did get through to him with the 5 electricity damage. Alright, I know the guy is heading west, but you don't have to prepare for him there in such a distance there, Jaheira. Alright, so Kirnai and Imoen already disposed of one of them. So let's continue on the other. And yeah, Senashira is going to receive some fire damage from his reflected damage, but some of it I think she's going to be able to soak with her mirror images. Alright, and now he has protection from magical weapons by activating his spell trigger, and also spell shield, spell deflection, so he's going to be a little too difficult to dispel with that. So we're going to have to switch to our normal weapons and kind of get through to him, but I think he still also has that improved mantle. So let's just kill whom we can kill here. And we are going to switch to our normal weapons and try to get through to him that way. We might throw some dispels here on Edwin just to maybe incentivize him to reapply some of his protections. But first let's actually see on Kirnai if we can... Yeah, we cannot get through to him with normal weapons for now. So let's just throw some dispels here and put him on the defensive a little bit. His spell shields, the 2 spell shields are now broken. And then his highest level spell I think was that spell deflection. So we would still need a couple of other spells because he still has that globe. We cannot get through to him with our spell thrust yet. But we have some higher level dispels, and this should basically wipe him out, so we'll see what he's going to decide to do. Alright, now he should be ready. I think we're even going to go on Senashira to breach him. We should be ready for that. Alright, he did cast a gate, so there's a pit fiend that's going to show up in a second. So actually, let's bunch up a little bit and yeah, after these remove magics here, give ourselves some protection against fear that demons normally have. And I would like to renew chaotic commands on... okay, she actually does have still her chaotic commands. I was operating under the assumption that all of those remove magics would dispel that, but she still has that, so that's good. We are soon going to breach this guy, and then we're going to focus all of our attention onto that pit fiend. And since we are going to breach him, that is how that encounter decided to work out in the end. So we are going to re-equip our magical weapons here. Alright, Senashira did manage to get that breach out, but he reapplied protection from magical weapons from a contingency. So, you know what? It turns out that we are going to have to get re-equipped once again with our normal weapons. It's a roller coaster ride here with our weapons and how we re-equip them. Anyway, we're going to reapply some... oh no, of course, she just cast breach. We are going to reapply some protections on Senashira soon. Alright, the Pit Fiend, of course, can teleport. And another protection from magical weapons is not going to help you there, dude. Alright, there you go. Now we can switch our weapons once again. And finally get to that Pit Fiend.
Yes. Direct me as you will.
And I think here we're going to have to get some +2 bolts, because these Kuatoan bolts, I think they are +1 enchantment.
Ready and you can count on me.
Alright, and cool. Done with that encounter. Let's see what spoils we get. We get nice spell turning here from the guy. Alright, protection from cold, it seems, and 1 arrow of detonation. So, cool stuff. This potion of insight, should I hold on to it? Well, let's have it, I guess. Some cool stuff, but still no sight of that spell trigger. We're going to have to see if we end up getting it or not. You can get that arrow detonation. Alright, and now we're going to switch our spells a little bit. The next fight is going to be kind of similar to this one, but here we are going to switch Imoen's spells, and instead of having 2 hastes and triple remove magics, we're going to give another shot to this Skull Trap, triple Skull Trap spell sequencer. SCS limits the spell progression of damage of the spell up to 12 d6, up to the 12th level, whereas normally it would go to indefinitely, or does it cap on 20? It probably depends if it's classic Baldur's Gate 2 or Enhanced Edition, but anyway, that's what makes kind of Skull Trap really ridiculous on very high levels, is that Skull Traps, especially unleashed from a spell sequencer, you know, in like a triple format here, can get to really, really high damage, and SCS limits it to 12 d10, d6 I mean, so it still does a little bit more damage than Fireball. It's still magical damage also, so it's you know, cool. It still retains its uniqueness, but it doesn't get too ridiculous, and I think we're going to set up a sequencer like that on her. And we also want to switch on Senashira. We are going to get rid of the fire shields, I think. We're going to give ourselves another secret word, just in case, and a greater malison for some future waves of these Cowled Wizards. And also I wanted to go for a limited wish, because we still have some limited one-time wishes that we need to use. Alright, and now we can craft another item. So let's see what we have here. Alright, we have all 3 parts of the equalizer, the hilt and the blade that we found in the Underdark, and that pommel gem that we have found in Irenicus's dungeon at the very, very beginning of the game. So 7,500, and some effort and time crafting is all that's needed to assemble the equalizer. And the equalizer is not as bad or as good as different groups of people claim. In my opinion, it's pretty average, although it is pretty underwhelming considering how late in the game you get it. But what's underrated about the weapon, I think, is the fact that it looks like it's like more trouble than it's worth. Did we actually get that rest going? I think the equalizer, crafting the equalizer didn't give us the rest. It's still day 55. Alright, so we did not renew our spells coming from that. I think that's due to a bug with the equalizer only. I think the other weapons, when you craft them, they do give you the proper rest, but we'll see about that. Anyway, the equalizer, it makes you immune to charm and confusion, strikes as a +3 weapon, and here, depending on the alignment, the further away from true neutral you are, the greater bonuses and to hit and the greater damage it's going to do. And considering that most opponents in the game are actually chaotic evil or neutral evil, sometimes lawful evil, and you know, sometimes you have neutral aligned opponents, but a lot of them are evil, at least some type of evil. So you're either going to get the +3 and +6 for chaotic and lawful evil alignments, or the +2 and +4 for neutral evil. So it still is a decent weapon, but considering how late you get it, it's nothing really that great. Alright, so let me just take a quick look at our spells. We don't really have our spells in order, so I think what we're going to do is just
Without hesitation. Yes?
although that's weird. I will have to double check like on the saved game, like what was the hour of the night? I think it was still day 55. I think we got like progressed the time by 16 hours, but without the 8 hours of rest after the crafting. I think that's the problem. But anyway, for one of these waves, I wanted to use just to showcase how powerful traps can be. I don't want to use it on the later waves that are tougher, but one of these first waves we can definitely showcase the power of traps here and set up maybe 4 of them and just completely destroy them with some traps here. Right, Cowled Wizards, come and get me, look. I'm using arcane spells where I'm not supposed to.
Declare yourself.
Alright, so here comes another group, and there goes another group. So, okay, again, the same type of drop here. Almost completely the same. Oh yeah, we need to use it. You know what, let's just... This is Kieran-Eyes. And we need to switch these two. Alright, so...
Yes?
Not that special, that wave. The next one I think is going to be a little jump in difficulty. But generally these 5 waves are very similar, and the difference is not that easily noticeable. I think instead of having, you know, some of these like level 14 Cowled Mages, there's like one more level 16 instead of one of the level 14, something like that. But anyway, let's now craft something else. So now we have, of course, the 2 parts of the Bow of Gessen. From Spellhold we got that string, and we had the shaft from Regic's basement. So now we're going to be able to craft that, and it's not going to be something that we're going to use all that much, but the most notable thing about the Bow of Gessen, the short Bow of Gessen, is that it automatically generates all by itself +4 enchanted ammo. So if you want to get with your archer to certain opponents that require +4, or even +3, because for +3 arrows you have to go to Watcher's Keep, and you only get a limited amount before you progress to Throne of Baal. Yeah, now we got the rest. Right, well now let's see. Okay, it's going to be 8 PM. But anyway, short Bow of Gessen here. It gives us some electrical resistance. It deals 2 piercing damage and some electrical damage, and it generates the +4 enchanted kind of slow traveling missiles. That's also a little disadvantage, but anyway, of course normally you can equip it, stack it with some ammo of your own, but if you want to actually get to +4 opponents, this is your only short bow, because Tancheron's bow, that also generates its own ammo, only generates +3 ammo, and if you want to get through to those creatures that require +4, then that's your weapon. Alright, so let's do some slight pre-buffs here. I think I might do a little bit more just to be safe. Let's get a spell shield going. And let's also get spell immunity to abjuration. Let's haste ourselves.
Yes, direct me as you will. It will be done.
Alright, so let's see what the situation here is. The civilians are kind of to the south. I think we should be pretty safe when it comes to using some AoE spells. But anyway, let us cast some mirror images, summon those Cowled Wizards, and actually let's wait a little
Tell me,
bit.
Jahira, how does it feel to have significant ties to a ruthless secret society whose stranglehold over its members' conduct borders on indentured slavery?
Edwin, an oak staff can cave a skull from only inches away, and none would mourn your passing.
It's really not the best time to be discussing such things here, but that's also a really weak retort by Jahira. Just threats of violence. Edwin, this is pretty nice. Overflowing with agendas and cloaked in conspiracy, the Harper corridors clot with the blood of those who dared raise opposition to their oppressive regime. He had a similar banter earlier on with Animan about the most noble order of the Radiant Heart. But anyway, here come the Cowled Wizards, and let's get that true seeing going. Also, let's already unleash a remove magic, although it might be a little too early, and let's prepare our triple skull trap here on Imoen. Let's prepare to unleash that. Oh yeah, that is going to be a little too early. Come on, dude, talk to me.
Declare yourself.
Yes, I know, I'm unlicensed. That's the whole deal here. And I did not set that spell sequencer up, of course.
Something up?
Alright then.
Quickly and precisely.
In this situation, let's just let them cast their first spell here. Alright, now they have improved mantles and everything. In this situation, let us unleash our triple remove magic sequencer from Senashira, and let me just see if any one of them has immunity to abjuration. It doesn't seem like it. Just this guy, the Grey Enforcer, has immunity to divination and some simulacrums. Alright, but that should be no problem. Let's just observe if we are going to be successful with our remove magics. There's also a remove magic coming to Jaheira. Let's actually put her forth. We don't really have any buffs that could be dispelled on our other characters, but still.
What is it?
Let's try to interrupt this guy. And look at this damage. 40 damage just like that from one hit. Because of that tremendous physical damage and the 5 electricity damage when wielding Crom Fair. Now we're talking, you know, now we're getting somewhere with our weapons. Alright, so this guy was unaffected by our remove magics. He is going to be our
Point the sword, and I shall
Time to move?
Yeah, tell me all about it.
I'm busy, okay?
our
I'm busy.
problematic guy this wave.
This will not take long. Yep.
Alright, first let's just dispel his improved invisibility status and his mirror images there. Alright, there is chaos coming to Imoen. Let's actually move her back. Alright, she is affected by that, and she might decide to attack some innocents, so we are going to have to react to that. But let's get this dispel going.
Yes?
Let's finish off that guy, and we're going to place Edwin
Just stop pestering me.
close to her.
hear you well enough.
Animan is too far back. I want to use his dispel magic to hopefully get rid of that.
The best leaders also follow.
You know what? This calls for a little switcheroo.
Nature's servant.
Let's actually put Jaheira near her.
Oh, all right.
Nice. It shall
And we're
be
going
done.
to try to unleash that dispel magic coming from Animan to dispel that chaos effect. Can you please dispel this dude's illusions? I think this boat here actually made it so that whenever the detect illusion spell check, or not spell check, but detect illusion check was going on, I think he might have been out of her line of sight.
If it must be done.
Anyway, the simulacrum is trying to cast something.
I await your
Let's interrupt that. Alright, Imoen no longer is a threat
so much comes
What is
back
it?
to home.
Speed will be done.
to anyone, to the public.
The rest is of no use.
Alright, so he has renewed his status here. Kelban's Warding Whip was... Senashira is generally in the process of being dispelled, but that's fine. She still has her buffs that make her immune to debilitating effects and whatnot. And did this guy cast... Because Improved Mantle is not enough. I'm trying to go through this whole thing pretty quickly, so I'm not sure if I missed a protection from magical weapons there.
Yes, I see.
And actually, now that we have some time, we can unleash,
Name it.
Go
if I
bother
don't
some-
misclick, we can unleash some remove magics
Ready and willing.
at him and perhaps be successful with that. Yeah, it seems like we are ineffective with everything. Right, now he has a spell sequencer, pretty similar to one of our own, just double remove magic and greater malison on top of that.
The rest is of no use.
Yeah, we cannot get through to him, so we are going to have to resort to just manual dispelling. I think by the sound, he might have gotten... He might have gotten his protection... I mean, his protection expired by that sound. And yeah, that was the case. Now he renewed his protection from magic weapons, and you know what that means. A little switcheroo on our guys.
Go forth at your command.
Speak.
And no further dispelling is going to be necessary here.
Edwin do this, Edwin do that. Sure, a banana.
Of course, that weapon ineffective is her magical offhand, hitting the guy, but yeah, we should be able to deal with him, no problem. And now his stone skins are down, and boom, there he goes. Almost. Now, boom. That was a true boom.
Put it without doubt.
Alright, now let's take a look at our spoils here. Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Take a look at this! Here is our spell trigger. Improved Mantle, Ruby Ray, always a precious scroll to have as well. Sweet. That is very, very sweet. Alright, so we accomplished something. Hooray! Can you identify that? Yes, even Sinashira can identify that. Alright, time for a little bit of a rest, but we are going to set up our sequencer... Actually,
Quickly
no,
and
no, no.
precise, without having
Once
to
we are
guess,
still
this
in the
will
heat
not
of
take
battle, let's actually use our limited wish now. We're not going to be disturbed by any more Cowled Wizards. And we have 2 wishes, I think, that we still have to do.
You shall die for your impudence.
2 one-time wishes. Here is the one that I wanted to wait for Imoen before we did that. If we wish to be more experienced, he is going to offer us a fight to become more experienced. And this is going to summon three golems. And we are actually going to give the immunity to poison necklace to Sinashira, because the adamantine golem here has that gas cloud that can deal some pretty good damage through applying that poison status effect. We also have a juggernaut golem and a sand golem, so we are going to, if we can, apply our protection from magical weapons. Alright, and try to deal with these guys. Do not attract their attention on anyone else. Sinashira should be able to deal with them, of course, if she switches to the proper weapon. She's going to be able to deal with them. Actually, you know what, let's deal with the other guys. Alright, the Juggernaut Golem is down. Sand Golem is down. And that's because, I think in the description, you know, of Crom Fair it says Stone Golems and Clay Golems, but Sand Golems are kind of a variation of that same thing. And I think they just die in one hit due to that. Alright, and of course the Adamantite Golem has like 90 or 95 physical protections, so even with Crom, our damage is not going to be too good. Alright, and now this guy can get through to us. Let's give ourselves our own improved mantle here. We could even,
Point the sword, and I shall strike.
from range...
As I would have done.
no, you need +3 against that guy, but Kirinai is going to be able to aid Sinashira.
Yes, my weapon is of no use. No use.
Now our haste ran out, but this is going to be fine.
What is it? It will be done.
Alright, so that's this fight. We got some pretty good experience for killing the golems. 25,000 for the Adamantite Golem, and then 14 and 16 for the other ones. So of course now Imoen could take part in getting all that experience. And I think since this was 3 waves of the Cowled Wizards, I think, we're going to have to divide that into 2 episodes, I think, our campaign against the Cowled Wizards. But also, do we need to do anything else when it comes to our spells? I think we are just going to set up that spell sequencer. Yeah, And in the next episode, we're going to deal with the final 3 waves of Cowled Wizards and get to use some of our more powerful spells that we have prepared for the occasion of these later waves. And we're going to present some other different tactics. So for now, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next episode.